Hey there, fellow horror enthusiasts. Welcome back to Silent Screams, your go-to channel for the most bone-chilling true stories that'll keep you up at night. Tonight, we're diving into a tale that'll make you think twice about celebrating Halloween. So, grab your comfort blanket, keep the lights on, and let's begin our journey into the terrifying world of nightmares come alive, terrifying true Halloween tales that will haunt your dreams. I never thought I'd be sharing this story, but I feel like I have to get it off my chest. It happened 3 Halloweens ago, and it still haunts me to this day. My name's Alex, and I used to love Halloween, the costumes, the parties, the spooky atmosphere. But now it's a night of terror that I dread all year long. It all started when my best friend, Jamie, convinced me to go to this supposedly haunted house on the outskirts of town. "Come on, Alex," she said, her eyes glinting with excitement. "It'll be fun. We'll get some great footage for our YouTube channel." I should have known better. I should have listened to that nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach. But I didn't. And that decision changed everything. We arrived at the old Blackwood Manor just as the sun was setting. The house loomed before us, its decrepit Victorian architecture a stark silhouette against the orange sky. Broken windows stared down at us like hollow eyes, and the overgrown garden seemed to whisper with each gust of wind. "Are you sure about this?" I asked Jamie, my voice barely above a whisper. She grinned, already setting up her camera. "Absolutely. This place has a history, Alex. They say the Blackwood family disappeared without a trace on Halloween night back in 1932. No one's ever solved the mystery." As we approached the front door, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The porch creaked under our feet, and I swear I saw a curtain move in one of the upper windows. But that was impossible. The house had been abandoned for decades. Jamie reached for the doorknob, and to our surprise, it turned easily. The door swung open with an ominous groan, revealing a dark, musty interior. The smell of decay and something else, something I couldn't quite place, hit us like a wall. "After you," Jamie said, gesturing with her camera. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The floorboards creaked beneath my feet, and dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight. Old furniture, covered in sheets, loomed like ghosts in the darkness. We made our way through the foyer and into what must have been the living room. Faded portraits lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow us as we moved. I tried to focus on our mission, to capture some spooky footage and get out, but I couldn't shake the growing sense of dread. "Hey, check this out," Jamie called from across the room. She was standing in front of an old mirror, its surface clouded with age. Legend has it that if you say Blackwood 3 times in front of this mirror on Halloween night, you'll see the family's fate. I rolled my eyes. "Come on, Jamie. That's just a stupid urban legend." But she was already raising her camera, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Blackwood," she said clearly, her breath fogging the mirror's surface. "Jamie, don't dash Blackwood," she repeated, louder this time. The temperature in the room seemed to drop suddenly, and I could see my own breath misting in front of me. "Jamie, seriously, let's go dash Blackwood," she shouted, her voice echoing through the empty house. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, impossibly, the surface of the mirror began to ripple like water. Jamie's eyes widened, her camera forgotten as she leaned in closer. "Oh my God, Alex, are you seeing this?" I stepped closer, my heart pounding in my chest. The ripples in the mirror were forming into shapes, faces, twisted in horror, their mouths open in silent screams. I recognized them from the portraits on the walls. The Blackwood family. Suddenly, a hand, pale, elongated, with fingers like talons, shot out of the mirror, grasping Jamie's wrist. She screamed, dropping her camera as she was yanked forward. "Alex! Help me!" I lunged for her, grabbing her other arm, but whatever had her was impossibly strong. The mirror's surface was like liquid now, and Jamie was being pulled in, inch by inch. "Don't let go," she screamed, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Alex, don't let go." But I couldn't hold on. With a final, terrifying shriek, Jamie was pulled into the mirror. The surface solidified instantly, leaving me staring at my own horrified reflection. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling. This couldn't be happening. It had to be some kind of sick joke or hallucination. But deep down, I knew it was real. A low, rumbling laugh echoed through the house, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The portraits on the walls began to change, the faces morphing into grotesque, demonic versions of themselves. Their eyes, once painted, now blinked and focused on me. "Welcome," a voice whispered, so close it could have been in my own head. "We've been waiting for you." I ran. I ran faster than I'd ever run in my life, tearing through the house towards the front door. But the layout had changed, corridors stretched endlessly, rooms shifted and morphed. I was lost in a nightmare funhouse version of Blackwood Manor. As I turned a corner, I came face to face with a figure that made my blood run cold. It was tall, inhumanly so, with limbs too long and joints that bent the wrong way. Its face was a twisted parody of human features, with a mouth that split its head nearly in half, filled with rows of needle-like teeth. "Why are you running, Alex?" it asked, its voice a horrifying mixture of Jamie's and something else, something ancient and evil. "Don't you want to join the party? It's Halloween, after all." I turned and ran in the opposite direction, my lungs burning, my heart feeling like it was about to burst from my chest. I could hear it behind me, its laughter echoing off the walls, getting closer with each impossible stride. I found myself in what looked like a child's bedroom, filled with old toys and a small bed. But the toys were moving on their own, their painted eyes following me as I searched desperately for a way out. "Hide and seek, Alex," the creature's voice called out. "Your turn to hide. But don't worry, we'll find you. We always do." I dove into the closet, pulling the door shut behind me. In the darkness, I tried to control my breathing, to be as quiet as possible. But then I felt something, a hand, cold and clammy, touching my shoulder. "Found you," a child's voice whispered in my ear. I screamed and burst out of the closet, only to find the room had changed again. Now I was in a kitchen, but everything was wrong. The proportions were off, like I had shrunk, and every surface was covered in a thick, pulsating slime. "Hungry, Alex?" the creature asked, stepping into the room. In its elongated hands, it held a plate of what looked like writhing maggots. "We saved you a seat at the dinner table." I backed away, bumping into something soft and yielding. Turning, I found myself face to face with what was left of Jamie. Her skin was pale and translucent, her eyes milky white. She smiled at me, her teeth now sharp and jagged. "Join us, Alex," she said, reaching for me with decaying hands. "It's so much fun here. We can be together forever." I pushed past her, my mind reeling, no longer sure what was real and what was a nightmare. The house seemed alive around me, walls breathing, floors undulating. Every shadow held a new horror, every corner a fresh terror. As I ran, I caught glimpses of other victims, lost souls trapped in this hellish house. Some begged for help, others laughed maniacally, their minds long gone. And always, the creature and its minions were right behind me. I don't know how long I ran. Hours? Days? Time had no meaning in that place. But finally, miraculously, I saw it, the front door, standing open, showing the night sky beyond. With the last of my strength, I sprinted toward it. Behind me, I could hear the creatures howling in rage, so close I could feel their cold breath on my neck. "You can't escape, Alex," the main creature roared. "Once you enter Blackwood Manor, you're ours forever." I dove through the doorway, tumbling down the porch steps and onto the overgrown lawn. Scrambling to my feet, I ran and ran, not daring to look back, not stopping until I had reached the safety of the main road. Only then did I turn to look at the house. It stood there, silent and dark, looking for all the world like an ordinary abandoned building. But I knew the truth. I knew the horrors that lurked within. I've tried to go back, to rescue Jamie and the others. But I can never find the house again. It's like it vanished into thin air. The police didn't believe me, of course. They think Jamie just ran away, that I had some kind of mental breakdown. But I know what I saw. I know what's out there. And now, as another Halloween approaches, I can't shake the feeling that it's not over. Sometimes, late at night, I hear whispers in the dark. I see shadows moving in ways they shouldn't. And in my dreams, I'm back in that house, running endlessly through its nightmare corridors. They're still out there, waiting. And I fear that one day, they'll find me again. Because the creature was right about one thing: once you've entered Blackwood Manor, a part of you never truly escapes. So this Halloween, as you're out trick-or-treating or partying with friends, be careful. Be aware. Because you never know when you might stumble upon a place like Blackwood Manor. A place where nightmares come alive, and Halloween horrors are all too real. And remember, if you ever find yourself in front of an old mirror on Halloween night, whatever you do, don't say Blackwood 3 times. Because you never know who or what might be listening on the other side. This is Alex, signing off for Silent Screams. Stay safe out there, and happy Halloween. If I'm still here to see it. I thought that nightmare was over, but I was so wrong. It's been a year since I escaped Blackwood Manor, and I've tried everything to forget: therapy, medication, even moving to a new city. But the memories, the terror, they never faded. And now, as another Halloween approaches, I realize that my ordeal was just the beginning. It started with small things at first. Objects in my apartment moving when I wasn't looking. Whispers in the dark when I was alone. I tried to rationalize it, tell myself it was just my imagination, PTSD from that horrific night. But deep down, I knew better. One night, I woke up to find my bedroom mirror clouded over, just like the one in Blackwood Manor. And there, written in the condensation, were 3 words that made my blood run cold: "We miss you." I knew then that they had found me. The creatures, the lost souls, whatever they weren't content to let me go. And as Halloween drew nearer, their presence grew stronger. I started seeing them out of the corner of my eye. A flash of that too tall figure with its wrong-angled limbs. Jamie's decaying face peering at me from crowds. Children with black eyes and sharp teeth smiling at me from playgrounds. I tried to tell people, to warn them, but no one believed me. They all thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was. But the terror I felt was all too real. A week before Halloween, I came home to find my apartment door unlocked. Heart pounding, I stepped inside. Everything looked normal at first, but then I noticed the smell, that same musty, decaying odor from Blackwood Manor. On my kitchen table was a single black envelope. With trembling hands, I opened it. Inside was a photo of me, sleeping in my bed, taken from inside my closet. On the back, written in what looked horribly like blood, was a message: "The party's not over, Alex. Time to come home." I ran. I packed a bag and just drove, no destination in mind, just trying to get as far away as possible. But no matter how far I went, I couldn't shake the feeling that they were right behind me. I ended up in a small town I'd never heard of, checking into a dingy motel on the outskirts. As I lay in bed that night, trying to calm my racing thoughts, I heard a knock at the door. "Who is it?" I called out, my voice shaking. "Room service," a cheerful voice replied. I frowned. I hadn't ordered anything. Cautiously, I approached the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. Another knock, this time from the bathroom door. "Alex," Jamie's voice called out. "Don't you want to play?" I spun around, my heart in my throat. The bathroom door began to open slowly, revealing a darkness deeper than any I'd ever seen. I didn't wait to see what emerged. I bolted from the room, ran to my car, and drove off into the night. But as I looked in my rearview mirror, I saw them, a group of figures standing in the road behind me, their eyes glowing in the darkness. For days, I drove aimlessly, sleeping in my car, always looking over my shoulder. But no matter where I went, they found me. A gas station attendant with a smile that was just a little too wide. A waitress whose eyes changed color when she blinked. A hitchhiker who vanished when I looked away for just a second. Finally, exhausted and at my wit's end, I realized there was only one place left to go. One place where I might find answers, where I might be able to end this nightmare once and for all. Blackwood Manor. As I drove back to my hometown, the sky grew darker, the air thicker. It was Halloween night, and the veil between worlds was at its thinnest. If there was ever a time to confront the horrors of Blackwood Manor, it was now. The house looked just as I remembered it, a looming silhouette of decay against the night sky. As I walked up the overgrown path, jack-o'-lanterns flickered to life, their carved faces leering at me. The front door swung open on its own, inviting me in. "I'm here," I shouted into the darkness. "You wanted me back. Well, here I am." The house came alive around me. Walls shifted, shadows danced, and from every corner came the sound of inhuman laughter. I made my way to the living room, where it had all started a year ago. The mirror was there, waiting for me. The tall creature stepped out of the shadows, its grotesque face split in that horrifying grin. "Welcome home, Alex," it purred. "We've been so looking forward to your return." Behind it, I saw them all, Jamie, the Blackwood family, and countless others I didn't recognize. All trapped souls, their eyes pleading with me even as their mouths smiled. "What do you want from me?" I demanded, trying to keep the fear from my voice. The creature's grin widened impossibly. Why? To join our little family, of course. To be a part of something eternal. It reached for me with those long, taloned fingers, but I stood my ground. No, I said firmly. I'm here to end this. To set them all free. The creature's eyes narrowed. And how do you propose to do that, little one? You have no power here. But as it spoke, I realized something. This house, this realm between worlds, it fed on fear. It grew stronger with every trembling victim, every terrified scream. And in that moment, staring into the face of my nightmares, I made a choice. I wasn't afraid anymore. I stepped forward, looking the creature dead in its inhuman eyes. You were right. I don't have power here. But neither do you. Not over me. Not anymore. I turned to the mirror, seeing the trapped souls reflected in its surface. Listen to me, I shouted. All of you. This place only has power because we give it power. Because we let our fear control us. But we can choose to let it go. We can choose to be free. The house began to tremble. The creature howled in rage, lashing out at me with its claws, but they passed right through me. I felt a warmth growing inside me, a light that pushed back the shadows. Remember who you are. I continued, my voice growing stronger. Remember the lives you had, the people you loved. This isn't your home. You don't belong here. One by one, the trapped souls began to glow. I saw recognition dawn in their eyes, saw them remember who they truly were. Jamie looked at me, and for the first time in a year, I saw my best friend, not the hollow shell she had become. Alex, she whispered, a tear rolling down her cheek. Thank you. The creature shrieked, its form beginning to dissolve. No. You can't. You're ours. But its words had no power anymore. The house shook more violently, cracks appearing in the walls, light pouring through. The mirror shattered, and with it, the barrier between worlds. I saw them then, all the souls trapped in Blackwood Manor, rising up like stars ascending to the heavens. Jamie smiled at me one last time before she too faded into the light. And then, with a deafening roar, Blackwood Manor collapsed in on itself. I found myself standing on an empty lot, the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon. Where the house had stood was nothing but a faint shimmer in the air, like heat rising from pavement. It was over. Really, truly over. In the years since that night, I've tried to make sense of what happened. I've researched, I've talked to experts in the paranormal, I've even started my own investigations into other haunted places. Because I know now that there are things in this world that can't be explained, horrors lurking just beyond the veil of our reality. But I also know that those horrors only have the power we give them. That in the face of even the darkest nightmares, the human spirit can prevail. I still think about Jamie and the others sometimes, wondering if they found peace, if they're in a better place. And on quiet nights, when the veil feels thin, I swear I can almost hear their whispers on the wind. Not threatening now, but grateful. Free. As for me, I've found a new purpose. I travel the country, seeking out other places like Blackwood Manor, other lost souls trapped by their own fears. And when I find them, I do what I can to help them remember who they are, to help them find the strength to break free. It's not an easy path. There are still nights when the shadows seem to move, when I wake up in a cold sweat, certain that I can hear that inhuman laughter. But I face those moments with courage now, with the knowledge that I've looked into the face of true horror and come out the other side. So this Halloween, as you celebrate with friends or take your kids trick-or-treating, remember my story. Remember that the real monsters aren't the ones in masks or costumes. They're the fears we carry inside us, the doubts and terrors that can trap us as surely as any haunted house. But remember also that you have the power to face those fears, to stand up to the darkness and say, no more. Because in the end, that's how we truly escape our nightmares. Not by running, but by turning and facing them head on. As for Blackwood Manor and the horrors it contained, sometimes I drive by that empty lot just to make sure it's still gone. And so far, it always is. But a part of me knows that somewhere out there, in some form, it still exists. Waiting, watching, hungry for new souls to feed its eternal Halloween. But if it ever does return, if those horrors ever try to claw their way back into our world, I'll be ready. And this time, I won't be afraid. This is Alex, signing off one last time for Silent Screams. Stay brave out there, my friends. And happy Halloween.